Hello guys, welcome to One Brain Innovations. Today I will explain you the skills required for .NET developers. So especially when people are coming out from college and freshers and they'll not be knowing what all the skill set we need to become a .NET developers. So they might have heard about .NET developers but not sure what all things they have to learn to be .NET developer. Let's get into the topic. .NET developer may be an ideal career if you're interested in building and managing technologies. So that means like when especially interested in trying to develop an applications. So you might have seen applications in mobile. You might have used web applications and Windows applications. So if you're especially interested in building those kind of applications, so .NET framework or to be a .NET developer is the best idea. So always go ahead and choose your career based on interest which you have it. So most of them obviously will not have interest on developing or doing something, so they'll have interest in their own ways. So when you start just like picking up to be a .NET developer, don't pick it just like less like it has a huge market in the outside. So it's better to always have a better understanding on what you want it and how you want to build your career. So a developer is a technology specialist who designs and maintains software within the Microsoft framework, right? So as I told you, like we can go ahead and build a web application, mobile applications, as well as Windows applications. So usually the typical job responsibilities of a .NET developer, it includes building the user interfaces. So when I say building the user interfaces, it is nothing but a UI, right? So anything UI user interface. Example, you'll have a mobile application, Facebook application. That's not, like once you click on the Facebook, so it will display the UI. That is nothing but the user interfaces. So you'll be responsible for building that user interfaces, maybe in the Windows or maybe in the web applications. So what are what are the area which you're going to choose it, and troubleshooting of software prototypes. So troubleshooting is something like a web application or mobile applications, whatever it might have developed. So you will be responsible for troubleshooting the software application, so how it works, how it has been designed. In case of any issues which is coming from that particular project, you will be responsible to troubleshoot that and identify it and fix it on a time. And also as like troubleshooting is a part of support. That's something like users usually will be facing some of technical issues, so you will be responsible for providing the technical support to the users as well, so that like no everything comes to the coding part. So it also depends on, see, there will be like a development and a support. So if you're choosing to be a developer, so you'll be responsible for building most of the new features or functionalities. So when it comes to the supporting, something like there'll be an existing application running on the production and user starts facing some of the issues. So you will be doing the analysis or troubleshooting the issues which they're facing on the server or on the production environment. So you will be just like but you need to have a proper skills to do that also. So like even I feel like even to be should have the debugging skills to support any kind of applications. So that is the one thing, one area you guys have to just start learning and trying to support it. So developing programs for .NET applications, that is a part of a developer's work. So creating procedures for running the applications. So procedures when it comes to like, so there are like you can go ahead and create SQL procedures, and that is something like it comes with a SQL database. You'll be responsible for creating the procedures and running the applications. So these are all the typical job responsibilities for a .NET developer, and these are all the points it includes. And also, if you guys have any doubts on this, like uh, especially on the technology side, what are all things you guys want to select it, so you can just always do let me know in the chat. I will be helping you to just get into the right direction. Okay. So as I told, like so let's try to segregate it, so that like i'm I'm trying to get a web developer. So what are the developer skills required to a web developer? So ASP.NET MVC. So ASP.NET MVC. So MVC is nothing but model view controller. So this is the one thing we should know. And programming languages. So usually everybody goes to the C sharp. So VB.NET. So VB.NET is a little older now. So nobody's using VB.NET. And also we have F sharp and other things. But most of the things you'll be using C sharp. So always become an expert in C sharp. So definitely that will help you too. But that is one of the things which has huge demand in the market. And also SQL Server. So Microsoft, it has its own SQL Server. You can just go ahead and install that. So SQL Server is the heart of your application, so it holds all your data and all of the other things. So client side technologies. When I say client side technologies, say that like when you load your browser and what all things you need to just start learning. So Everything, the coding part which you're going to do at the client side is considered as a client side technologies. So you should be knowing JavaScript or jQuery, CSS, which will help you to design your HTML pages, and the Bootstrap. That is also something like it will help you to just design your HTML pages. And guys, this is very, very important. Global communication. So most of them will not provide, they will not at least give some, the required things through the verbal communications. So verbal communication, you guys have to just make sure that you develop your communication over the period, because that is very, very important. So if you know the coding part, and if you're not able to explain to the developers or the internal team or the clients, I mean, that's useless. Something like you guys have to just go ahead and improve your communication over the period. If you feel like you don't have communication skills, go ahead and just read out the newspapers and articles and try to improve your communication skills. That is a very, very important thing, but people ignore this often. So I suggest overall, trying to be good software developer, please go ahead and improve communication skills. So that is one of the collaboration. The collaboration is something like when you join a team, you should have a good collaboration with your team. And also, if you're just connecting with the users, you should have a proper collaboration with them. Try to connect with your team and understand the problem statement, and be open, and try to explain your problem and try to learn from them. So these are all the things. Just focus on it and try to improve the skills. And this is something like very basic skills required to be a .NET developer. And still, guys, there are so many things you can just go ahead and explore on that. Like we do have Angular, we do have React. So this is something like I just gave an example. If you want to become a .NET developer with ASP.NET MVC, these are all the basic things which you need. And you can, as I told you, do let me know in case of you have any queries on this. And another tips, like I'll try to provide some tips to improve .NET developer. And let us see like what we can do it. So coding. So code, do you understand the flaws in a similar plan, error controller, string, then go back to those particular capabilities for progress. You cannot only work in planning, production, coding, production, which is necessary to perform act as a study and realization. This method should not be separate only after answering the difficulties. So coding is something like you should know what code you're writing. So you should be very careful with the code, the part of code which you're going to write. Its example, you should understand the problem statement before start writing the code. Example, if I ask you to just like find the even numbers between 1 to 10, and you should be knowing at least what is the problem statement here. Then you can just go ahead and write the whatever logic you want to go ahead and implement it. So that is something like my suggestion is, before you go to get into the coding, just like make sure that you understand the problem statement. So once you understand the problem statement, just follow the steps or standard procedures to write your code. Okay, this is something like you'll always find good practices to write your C# code, and I will try to make a video on that. So it like once you start writing the code, so it will help you to write your code in a better readable way. So that is one of the thing. You just have to make sure that you have to understand it while doing the coding. And the second thing is like you can always improve your skills by watching the YouTube videos, or reading the books or articles. Always see like you cannot say that like you learn the basic things and you can say that like okay, I know .NET now. So nothing like that. So obviously there will be a new point and new things will be learning each and every day. So always try to improve your skills. So you will find the things in various sources, especially in the YouTube. So on the YouTube, you'll find like a hell lot of videos, and you can learn so many things over that. So keep reading it and keep watching and keep doing the code, and not only the watching thing. So if you keep watching it, if you're not doing any coding stuff, so that's there's no use of just watching it. Watch it and make sure that you do the coding part as well. Okay, so as I told, like as you could see here, coding is done comfortably, and that is called different contracts between the great codes and the awesome codes. So how will you know that? Like anyway, so up to this point, that will have realized the decent code and identify why specific code is correct. You cannot understand the distinction. So signing email list, contribute to open sources. So there's something like what I was trying to explain here. Something you just have to write a code in the readable way, so that like who are people coming right after you should be able to read your code. That's what the standards which you have to follow to write your code. Okay, that is very, very important. Due to the expose based code, there's an additional way of extending your software design capability, primary from Google, Apache, or few other plans to develop an advanced computer operations. Simply authorize their posting list and explain the part of subsequent discussion to you. So these are all the areas you can just always go ahead and improve it. So always go with a good practice or things to be followed and writing your code. And the third point is practicing information construction, algorithm, plan, interrelated difficulties. So here something like maintaining your knowledge of the technology field can enable you to refine your technologies and techniques also. And for example, if a Microsoft change the configuration of cloud server, you can understand how the implementation of those changes in your role from conducting current research. So promote your awareness of industry development by reading the publications that is focused on IT, and attending in the industry conferences, or communicating with your colleagues about the best practices. That is something like which I already mentioned before. And please keep always be updated with the current current market. So just keep an eye on it. For example, before it was completely ASP.NET MVC. Now we have ASP.NET Core, right? And also tomorrow we might come like Angular is already completely, it has occupied a lot of the market. So reactjs is there. Tomorrow we might get something else, so keep an eye on it. So like, how we can just go ahead and get in touch with the market. So keep always learning the new things. Okay, that is one of the major thing you guys have to focus it. And as you could see here, it's the best example. If all of a sudden Microsoft changes your no the code configuration, how it has to be configured, should always be updated with that. Okay. Yep. And also next, go to the next point, find a mentor. This is very, very important. See, as a fresher, guys, you need to have someone mentoring you, like what to do, how to do it, and how we can do the researching part. So obviously, so my suggestion is always go out and pick a right guy and take a proper training from them. Okay. And try to understand how at least you can write the coding, and problem solving technique is very, very important. So that this one can be done only through the practice. Okay, that is the reason people who give always high preference to the experienced people, because they already saw so many challenges already. They have just gone through so many phases. That is the reason people you might have got this kind of questions like why only experienced people get the jobs, not the freshers. As a fresher, see, you just have to focus and just have to just try to improve yourself, just to put some hard work. So to finding the right mentor is very, very important for you. So try to find out the right mentor who can guide you in the right path. So this is very, very important to be a fresher and if you're looking for a job. Okay. A mentor is a technology professional who had worked on the .NET developer or any similar role. So mentor can access your abilities and help you in identifying the areas you excel in and areas where you need to improve. They can also teach you how the platform works and the duties in the role, or serve as a resource for you to ask the question and receive the guidance. So this is very, very important, guys. Try to find a right mentor. So if in case if you guys not able to find anyone, please do like interact with me, so that like I will just like try to be your mentor and I help you to grow in your career. Okay. Practice your abilities regularly. So this is something like which I already told. So consistency practice of your technique is crucial, how to implement. So once you know where you need to improve, you can focus your time on building those skills. For instance, if you're not at familiar with every framework, you can study the terms closely and ask the questions from the professionals about them until you understand them. So as I told you, like you practice it. If you get any questions, always go back to your mentor and ask him what is this actually, why we need this. So understand it before implementing. That is the best solution and the only best way where you can just go ahead and improve yourself. And earn a certification. This is very, very important. So certification can test your technical skills and show employees that you have undergone the specialization training to be competent with other developers. And consider the Microsoft Certified Solution Developer and endorsement, and the Microsoft MVP, Most Valued Professional endorsement. So these are all the two, the best certification where you can go ahead and get it. And please go ahead and register and try to get the certification on these things. So, so we are One Bar Innovations. So we provide training and mentoring on technologies like .NET C Sharp, Angular, Web API, SQL Server, React, and JavaScript, jQuery. So whatever comes with our our application development, or it comes to the .NET framework. So we also provide both Windows and web applications, and also sometimes if it is required, we can just go ahead and teach you on the mobile application development as well. So already we've been able to provide